I clicked to go live. Yeah, I was calculating travel time. I want to get you guys as close to the other groups as I can, and I needed to see what types of accommodations to offer you guys that does that. So the most reasonable travel I got you guys up/down to is, without being excessive, is 2 days of travel. So it's going to be pretty nice. All right, we are live-a-roni. And let's put on some music inside of Roll20. Fire song, I like it. All right, howdy doodles. Welcome to the Ilderon Tales. This is the Gladiators, episode 23, Saga 1 of the campaign. We are playing Dungeons and Dragons tonight. Everything you're going to see is live storytelling. The story can go in any direction, which is one of the most fun things about D&D, aside from rolling dice and seeing those fat, juicy nat 20s. If you're under the age of 14 and you're watching tonight, please consult your parents, because you will see content in the future that's inappropriate for you, but probably not tonight. If you're unfamiliar with the setting, Google search it. It's called Ilderon. We've got a website and a wiki and a bunch of cool stuff, and the setting's really fun. With that, let's jump into the recap. Last session started off on the 31st of Noble. The party was on the island of Giakyphros. It is a border island in the Tide Gate. One of the first islands a lot of people come to in the Tide Gate. There is a major Nazram military base on the island, and as such, a large population around the military base our naval base has come to cultivate the island. The party was fighting in the gladiatorial arena that is in the port city there, and they were fighting the arena champions, who actually dropped out of, half the guild dropped out of the arena tournament so that they specifically could fight the party and test their mettle, as they saw the party during the day of the Colossi, and they were impressed with the party skills and wanted to go head to head with them. With that, the party fought Adalith and Zonilri, who were two Shadowkin elves, who gave the party a pretty good fight in round one, tying the score, or tying the duel. The second round, they put on a performance in which they had a display of art using shadows to make images, or rather artwork of wraith-like phantom projections moving through the sky of the arena. Then after that, the party had the opportunity to put on a display of talent for the crowd, in which they performed a sports match, Ilderon's first match ever of Blood Ball, or Kick the Halfling, or Throw the Halfling, in which, after a stunning display, Brewbark and Tumbutu emerged victorious. And they went into the final round of the exhibition match to determine.
Don't forget, a little bit of help from the cheating ball.
Oh yeah, betrayal at Baldur's Gate. I don't know. Betrayal at Baldur's Goal. All right, ball. Okay. Anyways, the jokes got away from me. Yes.
Ball does as it pleases.
It is true. And then the final round, or the final part of the exhibition match, was a guild-on-guild battle, and Zonilri and Adalith went against Paid in Blood. They were able to almost knock out 3 members of Paid in Blood. Unfortunately, the overwhelming force of everybody gang up and kick them did overwhelm Zonilri in the end, and the Paid in Blood came out on top, winning their third arena commendation signet. After that, they were paid. They divvied up their winnings, letting Taden, I forgot her name for a second, letting Taden keep most of the winnings, in which Taden promised to outfit the guild a little bit better, and everybody got a couple of loot points for that. And now we are in the night of the 31st of Noble. The party's next arena battle is in Sky's, or rather the next arena for the Fey Felon Circle is in Sky's Reach. The party does need to find some way to get there, and we are going to pick up there. So it is the night of the 31st. Those who want to celebrate have been able to revel a nice little bit. Oh, and I can erase all these lines from the Colossus. And what was the name of that place you all were staying at? There was a tavern by the docks that you guys were...
Do I have it in my notes?
Sweet on. If you don't, I do. Geokyphros and
I do not. I have characters.
fair enough. Yeah, I'm gonna say you guys are at the place you've been. Ho ho ho! No, you guys stopped staying at that place. I remember.
They were on a boat the night before.
Yep. You guys are on.
Yeah, it was the Resting Blade.
Yes, you guys are on the Resting Blade. It is. Wait, is that the name of the boat?
That was the inn.
Okay, yeah. The inn was the Resting Blade, because I'm pretty sure the boat's name starts with a B.
I don't have that in my notes.
Bodie McBoatface.
Bodie McBoatface? No. Anyways,
not.
you guys are on. You guys have been staying with a. You guys have been staying on a sailing vessel that has been docked in port for the past few nights, or for the past 2 nights. As your revelries and things end up for the night, you are able to go back to your quarters on the boat, and I will say the whole party is together. Yeah, I'll say the whole party is together, and you guys are in the hull of the ship. Normally where they would keep the cargo, you guys have been able to set up down here and basically just expand out and take over the area for a little bit.
Can I ask a question, Brandon?
Yes.
I don't know if this is common knowledge or not, but is Sergeant Ilderon still the owner of the arena? Or what happened to them during the Colossi attack?
Sergeant Adara. Sergeant Adara was not the owner of the arena. Sergeant Adara, just because it was so long ago, I'll just tell you. She was the precognitive mage who was helping Nazram preemptively prevent crimes. She was under mind control fungus, and she was telepathically linked with a crime lord in the city, which is why she somehow knew every crime that was happening. She was in the tower, and I don't think she lived.
My notes also say that Lord Hozard was a potential to be the next one in charge of the arena.
Yes,
Archblade and Strong Necromancer.
Yep, Lord Fallon Hozart was a Lich Lord of Seagro. He was the one who kept sending all of those fungus creatures.
Oh, okay. So
We
okay.
made sure the.
So that
thought we made
didn't
sure
happen.
I thought we made sure the precognitive died, actually.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure she's dead.
Okay. Those are just like the last characters I have written in my notes, so I'm going to delete them since they are now deceased.
Lord Hauser is not deceased.
Oh.
He gave his final gambit, and remember, he spoke to you guys and said, "Well, if this doesn't work, I'm leaving." And presumably, he's uprooted and left.
Dumpus. Okay.
I think I have
That
a
joke
picture
grew on
of
me
it.
as I thought about it.
Yeah, you guys never did go to Seagro to talk to him. But, if the mountain won't come to you... Or wait, if you won't go to the mountain will come to you. There we go. That's it. Yes, everybody's, though, is on the hull of the ship. And it is in the evening. It's going to be late in the evening. Going into the latter night of the 31st. The captain the owner of the ship, is going to come down here. You guys know him by the name of Ora Trevo. As you all are either celebrating, drinking, getting ready for bed, he'll be holding a lantern for light and say, "Hey, I know you've all been through a lot with the last last few days in Giacaifros. I don't want to douse your glory rousing, but unfortunately we'll be leaving port tomorrow morning. It was last night on my vessel."
Where are you headed?
Wife's had it with this place. We're headed back to civilization. Skies reach proper. Meet back up with our guild.
Look over at Taden. Where were we going next?
Taden, who would likely be here, too. She's going to say, "Well, the next arena is in Sky's Reach."
Look back at the
And-
captain. Can we get a ride?
Persuasion check.
He's going to think for a moment and say, "You guys got any more gold to spend?"
Well, we just won a chunk of the arena, so yeah, I think we got a little scratch.
He'll
And-
look over at you and say, "Well, your food, your water, five gold ahead. That'll take you to Sky's Reach."
I think we can do that. Though, don't know. Is that a good deal? Looking at Taden. Also, don't forget, if there's any pirates or brigands decide to attack your ship, we will make them very, very sorry indeed.
She's and this isn't like a huge fancy ship. Like this is like a sailboat for maybe a dozen or so people. If you were to walk down at a marina or something.
Mm-hmm.
Taden's
So like
going,
a 40-foot sloop or something like that?
actually, I have it in my notes. How big is this thing?
I mean,
Well-
bear in mind, this is Seas who's used to a troop transport where you literally stand, chest to back for however many days and then get out.
Yeah, it's bigger than that. It's it's two masts. In my notes I actually have a two mast vessel.
Okay.
And well, yeah, I don't know the name for this other than it's not a bark, because the bark's really big. The bark's the next biggest. It's smaller than a bark, and
Okay.
bigger than a normal sailing ship. But
Okay.
it's-
Sloops are frequently one mast, it looks like. So it might be the next step up.
Yeah. But with that, Tayden's going to look around at this and say...
Schooner.
Schooner. Okay. I'll Google search that. Yeah, she'll look around at this and say, we can make do with these accommodations. I'd prefer a little bit more space, but if the winds are favorable, it'll only be a day or so to get us to Sky's Reach. The boat's owner is going to say, Captain said 2 days. Things haven't been looking good in the stars.
I think we can save the money and spend 2 days with this lovely gentleman here.
Sure. I want to get some supplies in town for something, and then I've got some tinkering to do that'll probably take me at least a couple of days, so that sounds great.
He'll nod and say, all right, well, we hoist anchor an hour after sunrise.
Tumbutu definitely is already drunk at this point. like he's been partying since victory, or at least drinking alcohol since then.
All right. You
I'll
said
lean over to Regis and say, we're not going to the red light tonight.
Actually, Tumbutu was actually because he is slightly depressed after a horrific loss against that one dude in the 1v1 combat. He was going to try to find someone for a one-night stand while at the bar and all that.
Hold up there. I know that look in your eye, and we have seen where this goes before.
The entire
The
party
last
turns
time
towards
somebody...
Regis.
Yeah, the last time somebody... Well, Regis has left, remember? I thought... No, he's here. Never mind.
No, I'm still
Yeah.
standing here. I was
Okay.
about. After he says that to me, I say, "There's no fucking brothels here. They got taken out by the goody two shoe police."
I thought you
How
hooked
the
up
fuck
with
do you
a... No, no,
think
no. Somebody hooked up with a shopkeeper and got infected with the fungus. Okay.
That's
maybe
how I got infected.
Maybe
yeah.
you need to figure out some way to be a little more careful.
My point is, I ain't touching no chick, no matter how good the puss is. Here.
That's probably smart.
Tumbutu's too drunk to care about that, though.
Maybe you're too drunk to care, but I'm pretty sure we're not.
So, if you guys are willing to try to stop,
Tell you what,
there will
think
be
about
some sort of, there will be a little bit of resistance.
Tell you what,
I'll
if you
shake
catch
dice.
the Elnagilian crotch rot and you need immediate medical attention, we're not giving it to you. We're getting on this boat, and I'm going to tie you up in the hold and leave you there for 2 days, wishing you could scratch. And then we'll let you figure it out in Sky's Reach. And if your junk rots off in the process, so be it.
He just goes like, yeah, whatever.
Elnagilian crotch rot, just remember.
Crotch rock.
Hey, Brandon, would I be able to find a cloak of displacement?
In town here?
Yeah, before we leave.
See. It is very unlikely. Do I have it on the loot table though?
That's what I'm trying to pull up.
Let's see.
I can grab that right quick.
It is on the loot table. There's so I will say there's somebody here who would be able to procure it for you. However, it is out of your range. There
Where
is
is that?
5 Paragon loot points.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. There would be a very, very There'd be probably some very wealthy contractor who sells to Nazram here who would know where to acquire one. And they could likely teleport there and teleport back to bring it to you, but
how much does it cost for like a treasure room or whatever?
The treasure rumors are, let's see, treasure hoard. Hold on, I've got this.
Yeah, that's 300 loot points for that cloak, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. The treasure hoard rumor is 8 points.
Do you think I could get a treasure rumor that leads me to a cloak of displacement?
That's a little specific there, don't you think? It's also a 292 point discount with a little extra legwork.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why I'm asking.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, you could get a treasure hoard rumor as to if a cloak of displacement would be in there. That would be unlikely. For the treasure hoards, I actually roll on the hoard tables that they provide in the DMG. So you generally know what you'd be, some of the items you could get, but it would be the random rolls of the table.
That's fine. I'll look for something else that's within my price range.
Speaking of which, C's needs to go to, I guess, the local smithies and stuff to see about getting parts for what he's planning on making. The length of chain is the easy part. The 8-pound gold ball with a attached ring is the tough part, or gold alloy, anyways.
Okay. Gold, I believe I've got on.
Well, I'm doing the weapon thing that we talked about, or that I sent you the message about. So I'm looking to make equivalent to a gold-headed warhammer.
Okay.
Ball and chain style per the message I sent you directly.
Let me double check this, because I do remember we talked about the chain fighting stance.
Yeah, well, that was separate. Like, that whole thing was the other thing I was kind of hoping to do, is to go catch up with the character that we fought against using spike chains and just nerd out about technique for a little bit and see if she'll drop any hints or tell him, what are the important parts to make this weapon do what she does, or whatever it is. But
okay,
I think we had talked about that was like part of her technique and not something I could really learn.
Yeah, I just read over what you sent me. Yes, if you spend the appropriate loot points, you're able to find those pieces in town and over the next. Say that again.
Stretch goal or base goal? I sent you 2 versions.
The stretch. I'm reading this. The stretch one was the one I read over.
Okay. Cool. Then if that is acceptable, yeah, he'll go get parts for that and spend the loot points, and I have to remember how much it is to actually do all of that. I think it was 13, maybe. It's like +1 weapon, uncommon material.
As you
12.
As you go out into the town for the night, there are still Nazrim soldiers in town, obviously, that weren't infected with the fungus, that are helping repair sections of the town even late into the night. It seems there are people taking shifts, patrolling. As C's walks, a good number of these people just kind of take note of him. Several stiffening up, straightening up as you walk by.
They look happy to see him? Or is it more
Happy
like
to see him, or a little bit of reverence of
okay,
towards his presence.
okay,
Not like, oh my god, it sees, but just like, you know, two people banging on a wall and or you know, like putting up like boards to stop people from like coming in and stealing from like a shop that has like a broken wall, and one might tap the other and it's like, and they point over at C's, and you know, just a little bit of reverence for the metal man who's been helping the town.
okay. Yeah, he just like waves and is friendly with everybody, says hi, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Does anybody want to do anything else before I fast forward through the night?
While I am not plastered, I've enjoyed a good time. I'm going to take the commendation temporarily and get my leather burning tool and burn that commendation into my billowing cape.
Okay, I think XV's the one who has it, but
Yeah,
with you.
I did not say I would be cool with that. I have all the accommodations right now.
Yeah, Brewbark's burned the other two into his
Since when?
his rainbow cloak. This is since you guys bought the rainbow cloak on Geokyphros and wore it to negotiate
Immediately did it, yeah.
with the people.
That must have been a session when I was not there. Fine.
All right. So I'm going to fast forward through everything for the night. Does anybody hold back Tumbutu?
We're not his mother.
Keeping an eye on him.
No,
but not-
catch up with him though, and try to like, yeah, keep an eye on him. Because I expect that he's also going to get into fights, kind of like Regis did, and honestly, C's wants a piece of that action if possible too.
Okay.
All
right.
He's going to sneak out in the middle of the night and train.
I'm gonna go straight down the list. So Tumbutu,
Yep.
you go out into the night, looking for companionship. Just as Regis told you, there isn't exactly a healthy market for that here currently in Geokyphros. You do find yourself at the resting sword, though, for the evening. Let me roll a percentage die for this. As you're at the resting sword for the evening, there are a group of people that come up around Tumbutu and are either, you know, trying to ask him questions, listen to stories. A lot of this is going in one ear and out another ear. Eventually, you do hear somebody offer to spend the night with you. Excitedly, you can go forward and grab their hand, get ready to head up to their room. A few moments later, as you guys haven't moved very far, you can try and make whatever persuasion check you want. On the flip side of this, Sees, as you go to spend the night with Tumbutu, he seems very eager to hang out with you, but he is trying to drag you somewhere that you are not very, I guess, willing to go with him.
Do you want me to make a persuasion?
No, he'll go pretty much anywhere.
Okay.
The main thing is like he has no fear between him and Tumbutu that he can just curb stomp the hell out of any banditry, gang, whatever. Somebody tries to rob him, all that kind of stuff. He's not worried about that. Okay, he's worried that Timbuktu is going to try to hook up with someone who clearly has the Herpaganosyphilades, the Alnagian crotch rot, and a litany of other diseases that would make Tayden scream in frustration. And that's what he's worried about. So
Yeah.
you may get to a street where it's like, this is clearly the bad neighborhood or whatever, and look at Timbuktu and go, you're not banging anything. There is no crotch available in this entire area that you're going to be hooking up with. Is that understood?
Yeah. Timbuktu is able to garner a little bit of a crowd. Nobody there is really interested in sex. I was saying the person who, says, like, I'll spend the night with Timbuktu is C's. Not like sexually, but from a incredibly inebriated state, from Timbuktu. It's just like, oh, look, a pretty elf woman. And then here's the words like, I'll spend the night with you. Turns, sees in whatever vision Timbuktu sees is just like, aw, yeah, pretty elf woman wants to spend the night with me. Let's go. Grab C's hand.
That is some crazy, crazy beer goggles, and at that point, he will just throw Timbuktu over his shoulder and walk back to the ship.
Okay.
I'll do a disadvantage strength versus strength.
Bring it.
Yeah, the elf maiden is growing distant to you, Timbuktu. She's also somewhat now muscular and carrying you. There are two of her.
Timbuktu failed so hard.
Yeah, well, the one that is carrying you probably is the one who wants to spend the night with you. Although she's metallic and less pretty. But
Nah, it's gotta be armor. It's just the armor. She's got that elven chain on. That's what that is.
Sees, obviously you were able to get the stuff as you are headed back. Oh, there was one last event I needed to roll. As this is happening, you all are rather Sees heading back to the port. Heading back to the port in the small courtyard right before the main road that leads into town. You are going to see Adalith, Zonilary, and Teneri. They are sitting on a bench under a tree. Zonilary is playing a flute, and Teneri is nursing her wounds. It seems that they have done the same as celebrating like you guys tonight. Although, Teneri doesn't look that well, as she had a much rougher time in the arena. They pass a wave to you as you walk by. Otherwise, you guys can head back to your ship.
Well, stop. Go talk to them for a little bit, because they Caesar wanted to talk to her about the chain technique stuff.
Okay.
Greetings.
They'll look over at you with their almost otherworldly stares, and Teneri is going to say, that was one bridge of a display you put up in the arena today. I have half a mind to recruit you into our ranks. If only you could perform some basic Rycraft with shadows.
I do basic Rycraft, but my style is earth rather than shadow.
She nods. Zonilry is going to stop playing his flute, and he'll look up.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. He'll look up and say, "Yeah, hell of a swing."
Thank
Adalith
you.
is going to Say, yeah, I should have been dodging more, but lessons learned. Scenario is going to say, you won't always have me to care for you, Lot. When we got out of the Shadowfell and came here, you've all gone soft.
Oh, I wouldn't say they went soft. They did quite well for themselves. So, I do have a question. That chain technique. I've tried to learn something similar and work with things in other fashion, but that was really impressive. I'm curious if there's somewhere you can point me to for learning that sort of thing. Give me a couple tips, something like that. If that's inherent in the chain that you wield, or something you learned at some point.
Adalith is going to blush, which becomes very apparent on her pale gray features. At which case, she is going to say, "Oh, well, we come from a land of nightmares. You envision it. If you fear it, it comes true to life, and it haunts and hunts you. Your weapon," she gestures to the chains around her wrists, "it becomes a part of you, an extension of who you are. I don't even think of it." She's going to scratch her head and say, "I don't know. I feel like my soul flows through it when I move, when I fight." Zonilri is going to ask, or he's going to pipe up and say, "I don't mean to be rude, but it's rare to see your kind on this side of the world. Do you even, have the flame of the goddess?"
I have a soul of sorts. It seems to work as well as any other. Except for the afterlife thing is kind of questionable, because technically it comes from the soul of a criminal who was petrified, crushed, and then turned into me and mine. So, debatable. If you meet any Warforged in the afterlife, I guess let me know. But other than that, I have no way of knowing whether one way or the other. So, unknown. However, as far as the weapon being part of you, he flicks out his right hand and a short sword pops out. We all have our ways of doing these things, yes?
She's going to nod and
And this is less a matter of growing up with it or using it all the time or whatever. And I built this. He points at his arm. It's a fairly simple mechanism.
she's going to nod and say, "Well, do you know what Rycraft is? You said you had a small bit of talent in it."
I do. I do have skill with Earth Rycraft.
It's a little bit simpler than that. For us, excuse me. For us, all of our kind are born with an attunement to darkness, the ability to move and control and conjure shadows. It makes it easier for me to control the things that I invest my soul into. I don't know. Maybe you could do something similar with your chain.
Maybe. That's... Okay, I think I know what I need to ponder in that case, because you said control the things that you invest your soul into. Maybe I can figure out something with that. Okay. Thank you for your time.
She'll pause you for a moment and she'll say, "Watch," and she'll take her chain off and look towards the tree. She'll spin the spike chain and lash it towards the tree. The way it is, being thrown at the tree, it looks like the chain is going to strike around it and wrap around. However, it appears that the chain bends in the opposite direction, like a finger curling, and instead slaps against the tree and falls to the ground. And she says, just slight adjustments is all it takes. But with a hook like that, she does it again, and it bends in the opposite direction. She yanks it backwards. This time, it comes back towards her and hooks onto the side of the bench, wrapping around in a way that probably shouldn't have worked as far as physics go.
Yeah.
She says, it's easy to trip up an opponent who's not expecting it.
When things bend in ways that they would not, based on their movement, then yeah, that was tricky. I agree.
She's going to shrug and say, only you were staying in Geokyphros longer, I could see if I could train you, but...
Well, I ship out at dawn.
Teneri is going to interrupt and say, train him. You need training yourself. 3 of them mobbed you and you went down. I fought off 4 guilds today.
You were not facing paid in blood.
She's going to nod at that and say, I should very much like to in the future, and have you lot defend the title.
Maybe. Right now, we're following the...
You
Go ahead.
lot defend the title. She looks at Adalith and Zomnilry.
Well, for now, we're traveling the path of glory, and depending on what the rest of my group intends to do after that, we may be back this way someday. I, for one, may do that and either pick my favorite arena to work toward ascending to the rank of champion, or make the path again. We'll see. Maybe fight all the champions on the way back.
Teneri is going to nod and say, I remember our first time attempting the path of glory. Fell short and Mentori, right at the end of the road. Tried twice. Figured it wasn't worth it to keep besmirching our reputation. Went back to our favorite arena, here on the island. Every day we get to enjoy a wonderful breeze. The safety Nazran provides.
What was it about that last arena?
She's going to shake her head and say, the Shadow Knights, their magics are closer to our own, but they study for hundreds of years before they're allowed to take their position. Even their apprentices, the ones that we fought, some of the best warriors in the world.
Well, we shall see. Should be interesting, at least.
She nods and says, well, we gave them a bridge of a fight, though. The few that graduated from their class from us. They'll never forget it.
Good. It's always good to be memorable.
And she'll roll one last check, and yeah, at that she'll nod and say, well, may the waves never forget your song.
Thank you. May the crowds always recall your name. And he picks up Timbuktu and heads off.
Okay. If C's spends time practicing this technique and gets anywhere close to it, I will message you mechanically what he's able to do, or tell you in session.
Okay. Yeah, he will definitely be practicing.
Okay. When I will fast forward through the rest of the night. For C's, any bit of practicing, I'm gonna say he's got to expend at least 2 hit dice each
Okay.
time he's practicing, and
Okay.
it will be a performance check that he can do with a performance check he can do, adding his strength and proficiency bonus to kind of learn and understand what he's doing. That said, we're going to move forward to the 32nd of Noble. If everybody stays on the ship, unfortunately, you guys are now crew. The lavish lifestyle of Geokyphros is a little distant, as the what is served on deck is gruel. They do not have a chef. It is pretty much oatmeal with no flavor. And guys can eat this for the next 2 days. And they
I
ship
actually
out.
have something I'd like to do before we leave port, just kind of
Okay.
as the sun rises.
Hit me.
Brewbark is going to ask the other ships in the bay if they had ever come across a ship that was owned by Avenslew, and try and gather a little bit more information from when he was way low.
Okay, roll me an investigation check.
Middle of the road.
Alright. So, Brewbark, you asked around a little bit, and you eventually find yourself talking to a shattered woman, which is Ilderon's version of the tieflings. She is currently waiting on a contract that she is on to meet up with the client and head to a island to the south. Her name is Tavra. Pretty much nobody has any information on this. However, she does tell you, what would you ask her so I can know the right information to give you?
First off, I'm waiting to see if anyone had even heard of the company Avenslew. But as soon as I find someone, I'm going to ask if she's familiar with where in the world the boat went down, and if there were any known survivors.
Yeah. So I'll roll her a history check, and as Brewbark is talking to her, or is just like asking people around, she'll walk up and say, "I've heard of it before. Fought it. It was a pirate vessel."
Do you have
Anyways,
any idea who led that ship? Who was the captain?
she'll shake her head and and say, no, it's the inner sea. You either have to be one of the best pirates in the world or one of the biggest fools in the world in order to be a pirate here. Between Nazram and Ililnagai, and the different raiders from the Tide Gate, or the different privateers from the Tide Gate, pirates don't last long in these waters. She's going to think for a moment and say, I do remember something about it, though. The ship I was on, they weren't... the ship I was on when they attacked, they weren't killing any of our crew. Tried to capture my client at the time. They were either ransomers or slavers. In any case, at least in Ililnagian waters, slavery's been outlawed.
I really
If the
appreciate.
ship sunk, good riddance.
Good riddance, and I thank her for all the information.
She nods, and she's going to say, and you're sure the ship has sunk?
I'm pretty certain that I just wanted to come find a crew member by the name of Waylo, and haven't found many connections.
She nods and says, well, I've got some contacts back in Ililnagai. They'll be happy to hear that. I'll send them word. She tosses you a gold coin. Says, for the info.
I'll toss it back at her and say she has been just as helpful to me.
She started walking away as you did. But she does turn around and clumsily catch it as she hears, like you've been. It's like, oh, whoa, got it.
I'll rejoin the party at the boat and contribute to helping get the boat going.
Okay. All right. So this boat is owned by a man by the name of Ora Trevo. And captained by Aaliyah. Let's see if you guys have any troubles on your travels. For the most part, no. That's nice. So as you guys are able to depart from the Geokyphros and sail into some of the safest waters of the inner sea. As you, after a few hours of sailing, it is not uncommon for you guys to see a vessel on the distant horizon, another ship, or just like large sailing vessels, and pretty much every direction around you in these waters. Like, there's not at any time is there ever like a dozen ships like near you, but every couple hours, in the distance, you see another speck moving, going someplace else. That said, your first day of travel is going to go pretty smooth, and your second day of travel is also going to go pretty smooth. On the on the encounter chance, a 10 and an 8 out of 100. So it's just going to be a pretty pleasant sea travel as you guys get closer into the waters, or as you guys get closer into the harbors of Sky's Reach. Those numbers of ships you're seeing on the horizon, increases to the point where you're seeing, 2 or 3 ever so often, to maybe like once every 8 hours you guys see a shadow moving over the sea, and in the sky you can see a large airship traveling a little bit quicker through the sky and clouds towards some of your destinations. Once you guys get into the current of the bay, the travel is going to be a little bit faster. On the 34th, and midday on the 34th, you guys are going to arrive in right before midday, you guys are going to arrive in Sky's Reach. Does anybody want to do anything on the boat before I move us to Sky's Reach?
XP is just going to be training over during the night.
Okay.
Just because she feels really bad that she feels as if she didn't commit anything to the group during the last arena fight.
I mean, you tanked like 70 points of damage.
Stopping damage with your face is still stopping damage. It counts.
When the caster is the first person out, something went horribly wrong.
Yeah, well, when the caster goes down, in a lot of cases, it's not the caster's fault. On the other hand, the go invisible and backstab somebody enemy is pretty impossible to stop. So
I actually had a spell for that.
Well, you didn't use it.
I didn't. I thought about using it.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Actually, just sitting here casting Mind Spike on
on the sailors, and they just pause for a moment.
No, you can. Once you're on the open seas, the gruel is going to become, gruel plus whatever they fish up in the time they can. XV can help out with the fishing of just oh look, we caught a sea bass or whatever, and it's just Mind Spike instead of hitting it with a mallet or something. I think it's ethical to Mind Spike a fish. If it's ethical to smash it on the head with a knife, then it's ethical to Mind Spike it.
Okay, fair enough. You might want to try Mind Spiking it while it's still in the water, and we just scoop it up with a net.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what she's doing.
Okay, that works. C's is going to practice his chain work and tinker to make the second weapon attachment that's required for the setup I told you about.
Okay. You can do each in 8-hour intervals.
Okay.
For that practicing, obviously, give me that check I told you about earlier.
I'm rolling it as a save because it's the same numbers, so 23 for the first one.
Okay. C's is getting the hang of this. It's not coming as naturally to him as somebody who's probably been doing it for their entire life, for every second of their life.
Sure.
But he is he's kind of understanding how to jerk it, how his body can kind of influence and his will can kind of shape onto this. He doesn't have the hang of it yet, but it's interesting.
Well, if there's something there for him that feels like he's moving in the right direction, that's awesome. He's pretty super excited about that.
Okay. Otherwise, you all are going to arrive in Sky's Reach on just after mid-morning or just before mid-morning on the 34th of Noble. That said, as you roll into Sky's Reach, it is built around the bay. There are 2 tiers of the city. Every building you can see in the horizon is competing against its neighbor to be taller and obviously climb as high as it can into the sky. That said, the massive city itself, there are probably maybe 3 dozen ships out in the harbor in various bays. You can see people rowing into the docks inside the inner city and the docks of the outer city. To the north, in some of the hillsides, it looks like there are ports set up for some of the airships. There might be a half dozen airships docking at any one of the ports. And that said, let's see. This vessel is it's too big to get into the ports now, but they are going to be preparing some dinghies to head in. Trevo is going to come to you all and say, all right, transportation, or my end of the deal is done. I'd rather keep you all off of my ledgers, so I don't have to pay the Sky Queen's tax on each of your heads.
Fair enough. Anybody asks, I walked.
X-ray nods.
What? I do that sometimes. Takes a while.
X-ray says she, gnawing in, I also walked.
You probably did not do that.
X-ray looks like you. X-ray looks like you would doubt.
I do doubt.
No, X-ray doubts you.
Oh, wow.
As a 400-ton machine, man, walking on water.
400 pounds. Thank you very much.
God, lay off the carbs, C's.
He just walks over to Burbark and
No,
climbs
that's
up
lay
on,
off the cogs.
Regis walks over to Burbark, climbs up on his shoulder and says, I rode on him while he swam.
I'm happy to even tow everyone away like we did that one time.
Yeah.
I still got the rope.
Or Trevo is
Down?
going to say,
You want
I'm
that?
docking in the inner city with my dinghy, but we have another one for you. If you take it to the north, I can have one of my men row it back.
Fair enough.
He's gonna nod, offer his hand forward, and say, well, if you ever need passage back into the inner sea, come seek me. I
Will
stay in, let's see, where is this? I stay in Purity's Reach. He points underneath the inner city and says, just around that row. If you ask for Trevo, my family's guild's been in business for the region for a while. They'll know me.
Okay. Thank you kindly.
All right. Trevo looks waitingly.
Grab
hand
my shit
forward.
and go. Oh, shake his hand.
And he's gonna say, the five gold ahead for each of you.
Look at Tayden.
Of course.
Tayden is in here, and she'll look to each of you and say, Okay. At which point she's going to fish out her coin purse. And let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 gold paid. He is going to count up the sea coins. And he'll put them in a small coin purse on his waist and say, "All right. Good luck in your endeavors in Sky's Reach. Don't get into too much trouble." At which point, he is going to head out, or rather, not head out. Leave your guys' quarters. On the other side of the boat, they have your guys' dinghy prepared. Whenever you guys are ready to venture into the city, let me know.
Okay. Well, Caesar's ready. So he's just gonna pack his shit and get in the dinghy.
X is going to study whether the dinghy can hold more than just C's.
Let's see. I actually know how much a rowboat can hold. It has a oh, they'd have to get 2 rowboats for you guys.
I can always drag a couple people.
Can't one of you guys shapeshift into something that can swim?
That's what I'm saying. I can literally just drag half the party.
Yeah, this rowboat can comfortably fit 3 passengers. So, with the one person who is going to be rowing it for you guys, it gets 1 person, or it gets C's, and then that's.
I feel like C's is more than a regular person. He might count as 2.
Well, it has 0 pounds of cargo capacity. That's so unfortunate. I feel like a rowboat could hold at least 100 pounds of cargo. Like, I'm gonna give this thing 100 pounds of cargo capacity. But these are taken out of the GMG of what they list for this. So I'm giving this 100 pounds of cargo capacity. You could fit on a rowboat along with 3 people before it gets real dicey. Oh, no. Okay, takes a crew of 1 person. It can have 3 passengers. So that said, the guy who's rowing it doesn't count. It can take 3 people. Brewbark swims, which I'm gonna put Taden, XV, and I'm gonna put Taden, XV, Regus, and Tumbutu all in the boat. Regus and Tumbutu count as 1 passenger.
I only weigh 40 pounds.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put Tumbutu as cargo then. Yeah.
Depending upon how much Burbark can carry, I could probably ride on him while he's swimming.
Yeah. So you guys are able to the 1 rowboat for you is fine. You know, as C's climbs down the ladder and hops into the boat, it bobs down and just like water comes over the edges of it just a little bit as it bobs like back up. And then, it stabilizes.
All aboard. The Brewbark train is about to roll out. At that which point, he'll put his bag into the boat and then dive over the side and change into turn into the water worm as he breaks the water.
All right. Everybody is able to head north. So this is your first time in Sky's Reach. So as you guys enter the port, I'm going to explain some stuff for you. You guys, there is a lower city and an upper city. Inside of this ring, which I will draw in, let's see, magenta, right here. There is a lower city that is built under the supports of the higher city. On top of this, if you guys were to kind of see these rings of stuff, On top of this, there is a whole nother layer of this town, which is the secondary map. And it is colored in elevation. The warmer the color, the higher it rises. And that map kind of represents this. So the very first map on the left is the lower city. The second map is the upper city. If you guys scroll all the way over to the right of the page, I kind of have some inspiration images for kind of what it feels like walking through Sky's Reach. So much of the city is built upon itself. You're constantly going under... why is this reverting?
It reminds me of Midgar.
I'm unfamiliar. Is that Final Fantasy?
Yes, it's Final Fantasy VII. Midgar, the slums are all on the ground, and then like the city of Midgar is built above it.
Lots of metal walkways, lots of skyscrapers.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the lower part is going to be really sketchy at night.
Well, yes, and the lower part, because everything's literally on top of it, has these giant sun
Pillar
lamps.
supports.
Then there's these giant sun lamps to provide light,
Yeah.
sunlight for them, because the city will actually just completely turn into total darkness without them.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems of the inner lower city. There definitely feels like you're walking through caverns when you're on some of the walkways. That said, you guys are going to... The way these sections of town are laid out, it kind of spirals around here, and I'll do these in blue. Starting from the top here and moving in a counterclockwise fashion. There are different sections of town, starting with everything in the outer city here is going to be a reach, and everything in this inner city is a walk. So inner city's walks, outer city's reach. There's Grace's reach, Elegance's reach, Honor's reach, Discipline. Elegance reach, Honor's reach, Grace's reach, Discipline reach, and Purity's reach. And these are the different neighborhoods and sections of the town. You guys are coming in at Elegance's reach. As you guys are ferried into the port, Brewbark arriving significantly fast. Well, not significantly faster. You can take its time traveling next to the rowboat. But Brewbark, coming in through the water. The rowboat pulling up to the pier. The sailor for a second docking. There are custom agents at the ports and piers. They are... you can see there are members of the government. They look to be officials. For anybody familiar with how a Lil Nagai works, you'd recognize these as... Well, actually, let's do a history check. Because I don't think a lot of people in this group have been to a Lil Nagai, as far as character-wise. Brewbark and XV. A Lil Nagai is very bureaucratic. You can see there are women at the port with ledgers, and they are talking to everybody who is coming and docking. Ever so often, people are trading silver to these women. One approaches your guys' dinghy as you pull into the port. And, as you guys are pulling into the port, there's one last thing I needed to do. Tayden is going to speak up. As you guys approach the looming city, she is going to look up and say, "I am so incredibly excited to be in the inner sea and in Cedal. A Lil Nagai proper. No more dealing with crime lords. No more running from assassins. No more dealing with lich lords. Just safety and glory in front of us.
Regis bursts out laughing. Like, deep laugh, straight from his core. He's never heard anything funnier said.
Tayden is going to look at you and say, "What's so funny? You see all the guards they have at these piers already? I already feel better."
I grew up in a slum like these. Half the guards are probably bribed off. The other half don't care. Not to mention, you really think there's no crime? Do you see?
Oh, you cut out for me, Oss?
Is up there. Oh, Regis is basically just laying into her that there's no fucking way that the people in the slums have it as nice as the people upstairs, and that crime is probably 30 times worse for the people who live below the light. Because he grew up in a similar area.
She's gonna say, in Soro Mangan, assassins practically camped out in my backyard, waiting for me to step out of my house. Crossbows at the ready. It would never happen someplace like here.
Regis bursts out laughing again. And after he finishes, he says, "There's probably 3 or 4 times as many assassin guilds here than there were there. Just look at how big this place is."
This is why we're still on the lake, on the ocean, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, I can't do anything. I do want to, as soon as we land, drag Tayden away just so the argument can stop.
Okay. Tayden's going to say, or, well, actually not Tayden, the rowboat person's, or no, actually Tayden will say, she's going to speak up and say, stories of a Lil Nagai travel down to Soro Mangan. I heard the new Sky Queen, the entire reason they elected her was to fight corruption. The sailor is going to say, "Aye, she's done a good job of that. Last time we were here, I haven't been extorted by any shifty dockmasters. Probably used to happen once or twice a week." Tatum's going to gesture to the sailor and say, "See?" The sailor's also going to say, "But she's a crazy one. Or, well, not crazy, but she's a little different from the last couple Sky Queens Lil Nagai's had." Tayden is going to tilt her head. He's going to shrug and say, "She got lost in... what's that forest called? One up there by El Yen? Anyways, came out 6 years later. Never quite the same. At least so I heard."
Do 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 do.
Tayden is going to say, why did she get lost there? Sailor, as he's rowing, is going to say, I think there was some rebellion a couple years back. Some of the stretches wanted to succeed. Anyways, She was a member of Discipline. Chased the rebellion leader into the forest herself. Came out with his head. Tayden's going to nod and say, well, I'm sure she has her nation's interests in mind. At which point, you guys will arrive at the pier. One of the pier workers, the woman with the ledgers, is going to come up and say, are you citizens of Ililnagai? The sailor is going to say, yes, ma'am, but I won't be staying. She nods and says, the Sky Queen extends her grace to you. And you all? She looks to everyone else in the boat.
Not me.
She shakes her head.
Tayden is going to shake her head and say, I'm from Rion Waters. The woman.
I'm not inside the boat.
Oh, yeah. Brewbark is in the water, and and Regus is on his
My
back
sake.
in the waves.
No. That.
Say that
Hang on
again.
one sec.
Say that one more time, Oss.
I think he said, hang on 1 second, he's going to reconnect.
Okay. If you reconnect, I'm going to use the restroom real quick. I'll be back in like 20 seconds.
Okay, my audio was cutting out something fierce. I missed everything that was said since the queen went into the forest.
We're dealing with the tax people.
They're like,
So there are some gals up on the shore, on the deck, or on the dock, talking to people. They have ledgers. They're occasionally taking silvers from them.
The funny part is that you're just sitting on my back now, floating next to the boat, a couple feet away from the boat.
I'm assuming like underwater because you're going to try and avoid getting taxed.
I didn't think of that ahead of time, so I assumed that Reed just wanted to breathe.
Well, if you had gone too deep, I'd just kind of have a hand on the boat and kind of just swim / be dragged along.
All right. Quick summary for you, Oss. The Sky Queen is elected because she has made it her mission to fight corruption within the government.
And she's also insane from the sound. I heard something about never the same and something about cut a guy's head off.
Do you remember that forest that Zeeth, that the Dark Elf was from? The one where they said there is a big magical problem that is a super secret. She got lost in that forest chasing a rebellion leader. She killed the rebellion leader and reemerged with his head. And Maiden is assured that she is dedicated to her nation. You guys are at the pier, and the woman with the ledger asked if any of you are Ililnagian citizens. For Regus on Brewbark, she's going to look down and say, sir, there is actually a tax for bringing exotic creatures into the city and port. I can prepare the paperwork so you can have the proper contract to have that thing.
Oh, he's not a pet.
That's not a pet, that's a druid.
Going to grimace and say, oh, but of course. Druidic magics are common in this. Is he a citizen?
Fuck if I know.
Brewbark wags, but it's really hard to tell him wagging from the normal.
Brewbark, move over there if it's a yes, move over there it's a no.
No. There was that tail thing. I think that means yes. He's well traveled.
Again, she'll nod and say, well, the Sky Queen extends her grace to you. For the rest of you, if you are new to our ports, how long will you be staying, and what's your business in town?
We're gladiators and unknown. Sorry, that was backwards.
She's going to nod as she starts writing on her ledger, and she is going to produce, or actually she's going to flip through it several times and start writing on a sheet. The sheet is it is a sheet of parchment. It has been dyed. And she's going to say, what are each of your names? And is there a name of your guild?
The guild is named Maiden Blood. My official name is Warforged S332.
She nods, and she is going to hand the ledger down to you all in the boat. She's going to say, this is a magenta contract. It's for performers, and it lets you seek work inside of the city. As long as you're here, you'll need some verification of who you are. This can provide that.
Could you give us a quick breakdown of the city?
She will nod and say, yes, I can. You're in Elegance Reach. I am a risen member of Elegance. Our school teaches in our school teaches of the risen caste for those who wish to dedicate themselves to the service of the Sky Queen. Our matriarch is the ruler, appointed from the merits of her service. With that, she serves all of the people of Alunagai, and we are the extension of her will throughout the city. She gestures to the other women all around the pier. And let's see if... I'm going to roll a percentage die, because the Risen have just gone through a big social movement, and they let men into their ranks now. There are none around. Still, there are men now in the Risen, but there are none around that you see. At that, she's going to say, in Elegance Reach, our school is just up the pass. Or is just up the thoroughfare. But if you were looking for work inside of the, or if you're looking for work inside of the city, there are actually 2 gladiatorial pits ran by the Faith Circle here. One inside of Honor's Reach, and one inside of Honor's Walk. That said, a lot of people do come and try and prey on the gladiators that aren't able to secure spots within the arena. I do warn you to stay away from the fighting pits of Honor's Reach. They can be quite gruesome. Other than that, on the other side of the city, she points in the far distance where you guys can see stretches of towers rising over the city wall. There is a magical university named Maphis University here. The immortal matriarch, Dilo Rona, lives there. She provides guidance and counsel to our queen. And she'll point to the southern part of the bay wrapping around the harbor and say, that's the Sky Queen's personal palace where title, when Laura Risen of Discipline when Laura of Wavewatch, Risen of Discipline, reigns in the first year of her 4-year reign.
I'm assuming it's not going to be easy at all to get a conversation with her at all. Would it be?
Why would we need to?
You never know.
Let's roll a percentage die. How much does Winlora like gladiators? The higher, the more in your favor. The
100%. She loves them.
Yeah, the woman is going to nod and say, well, if you are in the city for the Holy Week, the Sky Queen does attend the festivities, as is her duty. If you perform well in the arena, I can put in a request on your behalf for an audience. However, the time frame for such a request being fulfilled, she shrugs. You'd be better seeking the people's voice to the Sky Queen, the Supreme Light, Bethis Capotis.
Where would the closest inn be from here? Or at least an inn of least moderate stature?
Let's see. An inn in Elegance Reach. Of all the parties that have came to Sky's Reach, nobody has ever did time in Elegance Reach. So, let's see. You're looking for a moderate inn here. Close by.
Hang on a sec. Hey, Brandon.
Yes.
How far around the horseshoe shape is the Honors Reach, Honors Walk area?
Honors Reach, Honors Walk. Oh, I didn't want to overload you guys with information, so
Okay.
I can draw this out right now. She can answer that for you guys if you ask. So 1, 2.
So, I mean, if you don't want to draw it, I'd understand. The main question is...
I just have
like-
to count it for my self. 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5. So Honors Reach is this big area right here. And she'll explain that it is where most foreigners in the town come to stay. The town has expanded to include it into its walls because so many people populate that region.
Okay. And I presume Honors Walk is just the up the hill section from there?
Yeah, Honors Walk would be this section right here in town.
Okay. Let's find a place a little closer, maybe an Honors Reach, because I figure this right on the port is going to be mostly merchants and such with a bit more coin to kick around. So we would do well to be closer to the arena and also not right at the port, since things tend to be expensive. Is that a fair assessment? Look at the lady.
Yeah, she'll nod and say, you can find plenty of opportunities for lodging inside Honors Reach.
Good. Let's do that.
And she'll gesture to the document that she handed. I don't know who accepted it.
Probably hand it to Tayden. Or,
Yeah.
Cecil take it, hand it to Tayden maybe. So, wait a minute. If we're, say, out and about the town and we need documentation for some reason, there are more than one of us and there is only the one document unless you made copies and I wasn't watching.
She is going to nod and say, I can make a copy of that document for you. The Sky Queen taxes my services at 6 silver per service rendered. The funds go towards ensuring the health and well-being of our citizenry.
Fair enough.
At which point, Tayden will start signing everybody's name on it and say, all right, we'll have a magenta contract for paid in blood.
I'm just wondering if that's a, no, you must have your papers right now, or can I run home and get it? or my, guildmate is off shopping for fruit
From what I
at the other end
understand,
of town.
from what I understand, Cease, this is just for us to. This is like our contract to allow us to perform.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
she's going to say, if you take work in the city, the system by which our country, it distributes labor is by the contract that person holds. For instance, those who wish to work with the government may only use orange contracts. Those who partake of dangerous mercenary work require blue contracts. Those who perform require magenta contracts. Those who apprentice require yellow contracts. An individual can have more than one contract, but somebody who holds a magenta contract cannot take on the work of a blue contractor, as they haven't had the proper certification to merit the worth of a life.
Wait a minute. Okay, so the last city we were in, we ended up having to do some pretty darn blue work, just to save the town from giant fungal monsters and a few other things. I don't know. Maybe we have to come back for a blue at some point. What is this certification? I'm sorry, I'm curious.
She's going to nod and say, well, in Ililnagai, life is precious here, and every life is valuable. Work that potentially involves the taking of that value. The contracts are given out very selectively, and only to people who prove that they have an understanding of the worth of that life. It's a mental evaluation, and once passed, a blue contract is issued. As such, if any unfortunate accidents happen on jobs relating to blue contractor work, the investigation into such accidents, the fees of which are moved to the employer and not the contractor.
All right.
The sailor is going to say, if you kill somebody, you need a blue contract. The woman is going to say, blue contracts are not for killing, but should death happen, it is much more favorable to have one. To have a blue contract in your possession.
Well, I don't know. What do you think, Tayden? There was this whole mention of terrible things and people trying to get into the lower arena. I am a trained soldier if it becomes relevant, but I don't know that it will while we're here.
Tayden is going to think and say, well, if these are only selectively given out, there's probably a limited number of people doing blue contractors' work in town. We might be able to make some good money off of it. Of course, I wouldn't want to put your safety at risk.
Oh, I think our safety is probably going to be equally at risk in either case.
The woman at the port is going to say, well, there's no contract required for defending yourself. I'd advise you not to get into particularly difficult or dangerous situations. If a life is taken, it's 1,000 gold tax for the loss of life before an investigation happens. An investigation can clear you of such of allegations of wrongdoing, in which case your 1,000 gold or the 1,000 gold tax would be refunded to you. Again,
well,
this bureaucracy is moved a little quicker and moved past with blue contract work. She's going to stamp this magenta contract after she's finished making 3 copies of it. She keeps 2 of the copies and hands you guys the original one. And you guys can see the stamp on her, or the stamp on the form next to where Tatum signed all of your names is a very intricate, almost looks like a very intricate Celtic knot. With probably easily 4 dozen lines interweaving and going in different directions, overlapping here and there.
Fancy. All right. Well, I don't know. Taden, if you think we ought to take on some of that work, then we should figure out where to take this evaluation.
She's going to nod and point to the upper city and say, "And the Supreme Lights Tower, Bethis, or in the Supreme Lights Tower, any of the Risen members there can evaluate you on whether you're worthy or not of a blue contract." Taden's going to nod as she moves to get out the dinghy. The woman's going to bow and say, "And before you go about your business in Sky's Reach, the tax for my services are 6 silver. Taden is going to pull out a few coins and hand them to her. She bows and says, "Ilyaria, may the Sky Queen's grace extend with you."
XP's gonna step out of the dinghy.
Is gonna say, "My soul, what?" And she's going to say, "It's a greeting and a farewell." She nods and says, "Well, your soul lives too."
Oh, XP has old tongue. She understood that as well.
If we have any further questions, where would we go to ask them?
Oh, she is going to gesture around the city. As you get off as you get onto the docks and the piers, you can see. If you pay a little bit more attention, you can see Risen member are everywhere. There are patrols of these women. Some of them have swords. Some of them are in military uniforms. Some are, like her are in their robes and dresses of civil service. It is not very difficult to find a Risen member. Probably within shouting distance. There's always at least 1 or 2. And she's going to say, "We are the eyes, arms, and hands of the Sky Queen's will. Our eyes, arms, hands, and ears of the Sky Queen's will. Should you need anything, seek a Risen member. We are the swords that protect the citizens. We are the hands and the prayers that help those in need. The different castes each have a different, or the different schools each have a different role that they serve. The Risen members of discipline for protection, elegance and grace for service, honor and honor for enlistment and organization, and purity for religious instruction or religious enlightenment." At that, she is going to say, if you need anything else, seek any of my sisters. And she's going to head to the next boat coming into the dock.
Okay. Well, that'll keep him busy.
Oh, wait. She stops for a second, and she's going to turn and say, sir, as Brubark has not told me he's unshapeshifted. Are you sure you're a druid? I really don't want anything against my merits, or any records against my merits. Could you shapeshift for verification, please? Does Brubark return to his human form?
Brubark, come on,
think we
out
lost
of the
him.
water.
He's dead, Jim.
Fair. I'm assuming Eric's not going to ruffle feathers. Yeah, Brubark will come up and...
We start dragging him out of the water while he's still shapeshift first.
I am healed! We can go for maybe 10 more minutes. I know we normally stop at 3 o'clock, but I also started your guys' session really late. Do you guys want to give me a heading in the city? I've got a lot rolled up for this place, so if it's something that is in my notes, we can kind of handle it for a little bit. Otherwise, I can know to start there next session.
I do have food waiting for me right now.
Okay.
I'm good with stopping here. I will say that, as per usual, XV will follow Taden to go get papers signed.
Okay. This city is massive, so I'm gonna try and give you guys a lot of freedom here and deviate from our formula of travel, gain admittance to the arena, fight in the arena. There is a good little bit of story here that we might have an opportunity to enjoy. So we'll pause here for the night. You guys are in a city with a potentially crazy queen, and a lot of people, and a lot of fun on the horizon. Oh, I'm gonna give you guys major EXP. You made it to Sky's Reach. And anything else? Oh, I'm gonna give you guys minor EXP for talking with the last arena champions and learning a little bit about them and their culture. Anything else major happened tonight? I'm gonna give you guys minor EXP too for your first storyline in the city. The Sky Queen's well-intentions for everyone.
Also, Tambutu managed to get on the town, get thoroughly pass out drunk, and not catch any horrible diseases, get abducted, or any other terrible
Hey,
things.
that's just minor. That's nothing major.
I'm not saying it's major XP. I think it's minor. Maybe up there with talking with the other champions and all that.
All right. For tonight, let's do 1 tick of major plus 2 minor. We are going to have 1,500 EXP for tonight's session. And I am going to give inspiration to Os for Regus. riotous laughter. Just like, finally, the shining example of the inner sea civilization and culture. It's just like, you fucking idiot.
Wait, how much is it, and is that per person?
1,500 per person.
Okay.
All right, and we will end here. Your guys' next session is on the 4th of April. And if we need to reschedule, just let me know. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight, and I will be more punctual next time. I did not do good sleeping last night, and that's just on me. Everybody for watching, thank you. I appreciate you. Have a great evening. Goodbye.